story is not going away. And while we do have something called freedom of speech in this country, you can't yell fire at a crowded theater, and you can't spread misinformation and lies like what is taking place in Springfield, Ohio today. It's awful. It's wrong. And it cannot be tolerated. So I am glad that this law firm out of Ohio is taking steps to at least attempt to try to hold Donald Trump and J.D. Vance accountable for the things that they have said, which are proven to be untrue. They are nothing more than conspiracy theories. So we'll have to wait and see how this thing plays out. We will have to wait and see what happens. But joining us on the line right now, I should say joining us through video, we appreciate him taking the time to join us, is attorney Shandra from the Shandra Law Firm, and he is the lead prosecutor that is taking this case and has filed criminal charges against Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. Attorney Shandra, thank you so much for joining us. How are you today?
I'm well, thank you. And just to be clear, I'm not a prosecutor, but I am serving as counsel for the Haitian Bridge Alliance and the Affiant.
Thank you for correcting me on that, counsel. I appreciate that. So let's start from square one. Did you see this coming? And can you explain to us the criminal charges that you guys have filed?
Well, although J.D. Vance and Donald Trump seem to do a lot of wackadoodle things, and just when you think they can't get any crazier or more bananas, they do something even more bananas. So I can't say that I saw this particular thing coming. We've seen them engage, especially Trump engage, in a pattern of xenophobia and hate mongering, trying to divide Americans against each other and to make us hate all kinds of immigrants, including legal ones like the ones who are there from Haiti in Springfield. And ultimately, what my clients, the Haitian Bridge Alliance, determined when all this criming was happening in open sight over the course of September was that it looks like the prosecutor isn't going to do anything about this, despite the impact not just on the Haitian population in Springfield, but the entire Springfield community and Springfield government, the schools, the colleges, the evacuations, the closures, parents not being able to send their kids to school, regardless of race. The prosecutor wasn't doing anything about it. And so in Ohio, there is a statute that allows a private citizen to file a criminal complaint charging criminal offenses. That then goes either to a prosecutor or a judge. You can opt. In this case, we've chosen to ask a judge to make a call because the prosecutor hasn't done anything, to affirm that, yes, there's probable cause to support the charges, and then to issue arrest warrants for Trump and Vance.
What do you think? What do you think are the chances that a judge will side in your favor on this?
Look, I certainly don't want to predict what a judge would do or won't do. I would like to believe that a judge will stand for the rule of law here and will hold Trump and Vance accountable, even though it may be difficult, even though it may be risky and put that judge at risk. I would hope that a judge would understand the concept that we're all held to the same legal standard.
Right. So, Mr. Shandra, it's amazing to me where you have, and I think you'll agree with me, the mayor, who happens to be a Republican, who said these conspiracy theories about Haitian immigrants stealing your pets and eating your pets is not true. The Republican governor, the city manager, virtually everybody of prominence, whether they're Republican or not, has said this is not true. Yet, even on a stage yesterday, Donald Trump continues with the lies. Are you amazed that at this point, they are still not backing down and not saying, geez, we were wrong?
Well, look, we've seen that Donald Trump himself is a serial criminal offender, right? We've seen that. And now, unfortunately, we in Ohio are learning a lot of terrible things about our United States senator. And I think what is amazing here is that even after the governor and the mayor warned them that what they're doing is wrong, that what they're saying is false, that they're persisting and they're doing so relentlessly. But as a former federal prosecutor, what I can tell you, and as a former Cleveland law director and prosecuting attorney, that's evidence of criminal intent. If they had just made these outrageous, ridiculous statements at the front end and Trump had said whatever stupid thing he said in the debate and that was the end of it, that would be one thing. But Vance was warned in advance before he made some of these statements by the city staff. His staff called City Hall to verify whether these things were true, and they were told they were not true. And so that's criminal intent. As a former prosecutor, I'm telling you, that's evidence of criminal intent. If you're prosecuting a case, you love that kind of evidence.
Well, you're so right. Yeah,
right.
You're so right. I want to emphasize what you just said, because I think this is a very important part of your case, where that the staff members and campaign staff in J.D. Vance's crew were told the night before, correct me if I'm wrong, Donald Trump was on the debate stage and reemphasized these conspiracy theories and lies. They were told that this was not true. Yet Donald Trump on a debate stage the next day tells 67 million Americans that they're eating your pets and your dogs, right? I mean, this is a huge part of your case when you do talk about criminal intent.
That's right. And Vance himself then has persisted, and he's insisted on referring to the Haitian immigrants and migrants as illegal when they're clearly here on legally protected status. I mean, this is evidence of an intent to harm not only the Haitian population, but when you see the result, which is 33 bomb threats, schools being closed, colleges being closed and evacuated, City Hall being closed, the mayor and his family receiving threats. When you see the result, and you know that that result is occurring because of the persistence and relentlessness of Trump and Vance's conduct, that's where the criminal culpability comes in. Because if they just said it once or twice and then let it go, I don't think we'd be looking at criminal culpability here.
Agree. So, Mr. Shandra, the next question is, why did the prosecutor not do anything, as you say? Is it political? Was he afraid of retribution? Why would the prosecutor not take action?
So I can't speak for the prosecutor. I don't know the prosecutor. I've not spoken with the prosecutor. What was clear to my clients was the prosecutor was clearly not acting, even though these facts are open and notorious for the world to see. What I can say in general is that, and I think, the New York case proved it, Donald Trump is a serial offender of criminal law and civil law. He's just a serial offender. He's been adjudicated a rapist. He's been convicted of 34 felonies. And so it could very well be, this is pure speculation on my part, that local authorities are, like everybody else, sort of paralyzed by his power, his following, the cult that amens every lunatic, crazy thing that he says, and that they just felt like they couldn't do anything. But they're wrong. They're wrong. And this is probably the most important point that I can make on your program today, is I want to make sure I make it. And your listeners, I ask them to think about this. Regardless of where we are on the political spectrum, whether you support Trump or don't, whether you voted for him before or not, I don't care. Okay. I think we should all be able to agree on one thing. If you or I or any of your listeners had done what Vance and Trump had done, where you relentlessly and persistently lie, repeatedly disseminating false information, and it results in 33 bomb threats and school, college, and city hall closures and evacuations, and parents not being able to send their kids to school, and the mayor and his family being threatened, you can be assured that we would have been arrested by now. You can be certain of it. For disrupting public service, one of the charges here, for making false alarms, for aggravated menacing, for complicity, for telecommunications harassment, we would have been arrested by now. And the only question I ask your listeners is this: shouldn't Donald Trump and J.D. Vance be held to the same standard as the rest of us? Do we believe in the rule of law in America or not? That's the question before the court now.
Completely agree with you. I think that's very well said. I agree. We would be arrested. So let's take the possible criminal liability, for lack of a better term, aside for a moment. Let's just talk civilly. Can you explain what some of your clients have gone through because of these lies that have been spread? I know you'd mentioned there have been 33 bomb threats. Boy, I can't imagine how shook up I would be as a kid if I'm in school and all of a sudden I find out there's a bomb threat. My understanding is threats have happened at supermarkets, at a local pregnancy center, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Can you go through step by step just from the civil aspect of this, what some of your clients have had to suffer, particularly these Haitian immigrants have had to suffer through in Springfield, Ohio?
Yeah, I just became aware today of criminal charges pending against an individual who threatened a Haitian with a gun in their own garage.
Oh,
Members of the Haitian community in Springfield have been made to be very uncomfortable at work with harassment and statements that are being made to them. People are feeling threatened in their homes, in their communities. But I want to emphasize something here. The reason we've pursued this criminal charge dimension is that it isn't just about the Haitian community at this point. It's about the entire community. And it's about the impact on the governmental institutions, the private colleges, the mayor, his family. It's about the impact on everyone and not just the Haitian community. Yes, people have suffered, but it's not just the Haitian community that has suffered because of this criminal misconduct.
Listen, Mr. Shandra, we have a national show here, and I can tell you what you're saying is true. How do I know that? I've received calls from people who live in Springfield, Ohio. Multiple times, people have called into this show saying what these statements have done and what these people have had to go through because of it. So you're absolutely right. And it's important to note, it's not just the Haitian immigrants who are legal, by the way, in that city. It's also everybody else. What do you make of the fact that, and correct me if I'm wrong, J.D. Vance pretty much admitted that he was lying on CNN. He's doing this interview with Caitlin Collins. Correct me if I'm wrong. And, you know,
it was with Dana Bash. It was with Dana Bash. And he said, yeah. And he said that, hey, if I have to create stories to make the media pay attention, then that's what I'm going to do. And that's almost verbatim what he said. I mean, just think about this. How breathtaking and brazen is this? But again, first of all, that helps establish criminal intent. You're willfully and intentionally disseminating falsehoods that you know are having this terrible impact. But beyond that, it shows the sort of evil mental state, the malicious mental state, that you truly don't care about the human impact. And again, if it was anybody else that had done this, they would have been arrested by now. They would have been criminally charged. Vance somehow thinks that because he's a United States senator, he can do that. Besides doing a terrible disservice to people like me, his constituents. I live in Ohio. He's doing a disservice to all humanity. He's really putting a target on the backs of members of the Haitian community, and he's literally putting a target on the backs of the government officials. It's just so reprehensible that it merits him being processed through the criminal justice system and having to answer for his conduct.
So, Mr. Shandra, you know, yesterday I played on my show a rally where Donald Trump, I believe it was on Monday, if I'm not mistaken, in regards to the Haitian immigrants there, he uses the term, get them the hell out. And then members, I call it a cult, members of the cult at his rally were chanting, get them, send them back, send them back. I'm shaking my head and I say to myself, is this the country that we want to live in? Right. I mean, when you see that on television and you hear from the former president's mouth, he's saying, get them the hell out. What goes through your mind?
Well, there's just an evil to it. You know, I mean, look, we can have respectful disagreements in this country about immigration policy and how many people do we want to let in and who should they be and what should be the categories and what should we do when people are violating the law. We can have that respectful disagreement. But the Haitian immigrants in Springfield are legal immigrants. They are legal. They are here under temporary protection status because of the prospect of political oppression back home. This great nation did that for the Cubans. We did it for the Vietnamese. We are doing it for the Haitian community because of the political violence that they suffered there. And imagine them, they're coming to the land of freedom and opportunity, and they're to be acculturated into our great melting pot. And this is the way we're going to treat them and talk about them. Yeah. It's just barbaric. It's abhorrent. And fine, it's abhorrent, it's barbaric. That's enough. That's a policy difference. And I, in my own personal opinion, not speaking for my clients, people like that should never be in charge of the country. Yeah. But where the rule of law is concerned, if you then try to instigate people to act on that and you've successfully done that, you need to be held accountable.
Agree. I guess this would be my final question for you. If you had, being an attorney, if you had J.D. Vance and or Donald Trump on the witness stand, what would you start by asking them about this case? I know that, you know, there's probably a lot of things you'd want to ask them, but what would be on the tops of your list on what you would question them on?
So if you look at the chronology that's set forth in the affidavit. It can be found on our website, chandralaw.com. People can click on the blog. If you read the affidavit, it sets forth the chronology of events and their statements that are captured on video and that are captured in social media posts. And what I would do is, in a laser-like way, and because you get to lead on cross-examination, I would ask them, I would demand for them to confirm all of those statements. And when a fool like Trump denies it, which he often does to things that are just on video, I'd play back the video for him and say, is this you or not? Or are you going to claim this is a deep fake, right? And you get them to confirm the timeline. And then you go back and you confirm that at the moment you said X, or the moment you said Y, or the moment you said, if I have to create stories, you already knew, your staff had already been alerted, JD Vance, that this was false, right? You just do that because I think in my experience as a trial lawyer, most reasonable juries, regardless of political persuasion, when they're given that solemn charge for the judge that they have to review the case dispassionately on the facts and the law, they're going to do the right thing. And when they hear this, and when they hear these guys admit to everything they're going to have to admit to, I think there will be a conviction in this case.
Well, I'll tell you what, in closing, Mr. Shandra, I think you have a great case. I really do. I'm glad that you guys took this case. I'm glad that, these people are taking it very seriously. I do believe they broke the law. On the other side of things, obviously, you have a lot of obstacles and going after two very powerful people. But you're right. They're not above the law. And that's where you come in. So if there's anything we can do to help you down the road, I'd love to have you come back on if there's more developments here. But I really do appreciate your time, Mr. Shandra, and I really genuinely wish you the best of luck, and I hope you get them for what they did. Thank you so much for your time, sir.
We appreciate your attention to this. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. That's Subodh Chandra from the Shandra Law Firm. They are the group that is taking this case head on. They are filing criminal charges. They've already filed criminal charges against Donald Trump and JD Vance. There's absolutely at least civil liability. I'm not a legal scholar, but you heard what he just said. There was a criminal complaint of a gun being pointed at a Haitian immigrant, 33 bomb threats to supermarkets and pregnancy centers, threats to all sorts of different organizations within that community. And he made a very good point. It's not just the Haitian immigrants that happen to be legal that are going through this. It's also everyday people in that community that have been living there. I have those people call into this show. They call in every week. So I'm glad they're taking this case. You can't just accuse somebody, in this case, a group of people, of committing a heinous crime, in this case, which they didn't do, stealing your pets and then eating them. It's not true. It's a lie. And spreading it on a huge platform, which could incite violence. In this case, if they didn't spread those conspiracy theories that have been debunked, we wouldn't have had all these bomb threats. We probably wouldn't have had somebody with a gun pointing it at a Haitian immigrant. We wouldn't have had these schools on lockdown. We wouldn't have had these threats, hundreds of threats. And according, again, to the city manager, to the mayor, Republican, to the governor, Republican, these are not true. These have been debunked. So we appreciate Attorney Shandra joining us, and I do wish him the best of luck. All right, we're going to take a quick